Nah, this is wild. Never have enemies like this.
Oh my God, look at this. Just look at it. Across New York City and the surrounding tri-state area, winter has unleashed its full fury, leaving streets impassable, subways shut down, and thousands of homes and businesses in the dark. The storm, now being called the most severe to hit the region in decades, has already claimed lives, forced emergency declarations, and left residents scrambling to stay safe in freezing temperatures. Authorities report that as of this morning, over 300,000 households are without power, with outages spreading from Long Island to upstate New York. Major highways have become slick sheets of ice, causing multi-car pileups and stranding motorists for hours in bone-chilling cold. Airports across the region have canceled thousands of flights, leaving travelers stuck in terminals and on tarmacs. Public transit is struggling to restart, and many schools have announced closures for the rest of the week. Meteorologists are calling this storm Winter Cyclone Atlas, a rapidly intensifying system that formed over the central United States earlier this week and gathered strength as it approached the northeast. With sustained winds reaching 65 miles per hour in coastal areas and gusts exceeding 80 in open zones, Atlas has already left a trail of devastation. Central pressure readings have dropped to 958 hectopascals, a figure usually reserved for the strongest winter storms. Forecasters say the storm's footprint stretches from the Hudson Valley and Long Island across Connecticut, Massachusetts, and into southern Vermont and New Hampshire. Satellite images taken yesterday show a sweeping white band of snow blanketing the region, from the southern shorelines of New Jersey all the way to the northern Adirondacks. The sheer size of the storm is staggering. For New Yorkers, the impact is not abstract. It is immediate, visible, and dangerous. In the days leading up to Atlas, the National Weather Service issued widespread winter storm warnings. By Monday evening, authorities in New York State, New Jersey, and Connecticut had declared states of emergency, urging residents to prepare for what forecasters described as historic snowfall and life-threatening conditions. Road crews pre-treated highways with salt and brine, hospitals reviewed emergency protocols, and families stocked up on essentials, anticipating days of being snowbound. The storm hit New York City with snow and sleet mixing in heavy bands. Central Park recorded 8 inches by noon, with temperatures plummeting below 20 degrees Fahrenheit. The sleet created an almost invisible coating over roads, catching drivers and pedestrians off guard. In Westchester County, officials recorded multiple accidents involving dozens of vehicles sliding off highways, some colliding on elevated ramps. Emergency responders were stretched to their limits, with some calls taking hours to reach stranded victims. Upstate, the storm intensified. Albany recorded 12 inches of snow in less than 24 hours, with ice accumulation on trees and power lines reaching nearly an inch thick. In parts of the Adirondacks, snow totals exceeded 24 inches, forcing closures of key mountain passes. The combination of heavy wet snow and ice snapped branches, downed power poles, and left entire neighborhoods in darkness. Utility companies warned that restoration could take days, if not longer, for the hardest-hit areas. The focus shifted to Long Island and the New York City metro area. Airports reported thousands of flight cancellations, with JFK and LaGuardia severely impacted. Major commuter rail lines suspended operations, stranding tens of thousands of workers. Streets in Brooklyn, Queens, and Manhattan were transformed into treacherous, snow-covered corridors. Residents attempting to shovel driveways faced the double threat of freezing temperatures and the physical strain of wet, heavy snow. Hospitals reported an uptick in heart attacks and back injuries related to overexertion. The toll on human life is already visible, though final figures may take days to compile. As of this morning, at least 15 confirmed deaths are linked to the storm, with reports of hypothermia, traffic accidents, and carbon monoxide poisoning from indoor heating sources. In Staten Island, one resident succumbed to exposure after being trapped in a car during a chain reaction crash on an icy interstate. In the Bronx, a family of 3 suffered carbon monoxide poisoning while using a portable generator indoors to stay warm. Medical services are stretched thin. Emergency rooms across Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Westchester report record patient loads. Ambulances navigate snowbound streets with extreme difficulty, and some neighborhoods have been unreachable for hours. The cold is relentless. Overnight temperatures in parts of upstate New York dropped to negative 18 degrees Fahrenheit, putting anyone without heat at severe risk. Social service agencies are issuing urgent reminders for residents to check on elderly neighbors and those with medical conditions. Power outages are compounding the danger. In Queens, tens of thousands remain in the dark, with residents relying on candles, space heaters, and fireplaces to survive the night. Utility crews are working around the clock, but officials warn that high winds and ongoing snowfall are delaying restoration efforts. Even after power is restored, the icy conditions and fallen trees will create lingering hazards for weeks. Winter Cyclone Atlas is not just severe, it is historic. In New York City, 14 inches of snow fell in a single 24-hour period, marking the heaviest daily snowfall since the blizzard of 2016. Across Long Island, snow totals ranged from 12 to 20 inches, with sleet and freezing rain adding dangerous crusts on top. In Westchester, snowfall exceeded 18 inches, and ice accumulation created hazards that snapped trees and toppled power lines. Upstate, the storm has broken records in multiple counties. Albany reported its highest January snowfall in more than 50 years. Syracuse and Rochester saw 20 to 25 inches, with winds whipping snow into drifts that made roads completely impassable. Meteorologists emphasize that Atlas is unusual not just for its intensity, but for its size. Rarely does a winter storm affect such a dense population corridor, from New Jersey to New England, while delivering heavy snow, sleet, and ice simultaneously. The storm has crippled travel. Major highways including I-95, the New Jersey Turnpike, and the New York State Thruway are coated in ice and snow, leading to multiple shutdowns. Public transit is operating at a fraction of capacity. Subway lines in New York City have experienced delays of up to 4 hours, while buses struggle to navigate snow-covered streets. Airports report massive cancellations, with flights delayed or grounded as crews attempt to de-ice planes and clear runways. Schools and government offices are largely closed. Remote learning has been extended in several districts, including New York City, Westchester, and Long Island. Federal offices in Manhattan and downtown Brooklyn are operating on minimal staffing. Hospitals, emergency shelters, and fire departments are all on heightened alert, balancing critical care with limited mobility in the snow. Even as the storm begins to subside in some areas, the danger is far from over. Utility crews are working tirelessly, but full power restoration could take days in rural and hard-hit zones. Downed trees and power lines remain a threat, and slick roads continue to cause accidents. Residents are warned to avoid unnecessary travel and to be vigilant against the risks of hypothermia and carbon monoxide poisoning. Authorities stress that the winter chaos is not just about snow. Wind chills are creating extreme conditions that make exposure deadly within minutes. Nighttime temperatures in parts of Westchester, the Bronx, and northern New Jersey are expected to drop below 15 degrees Fahrenheit. Officials are urging residents to seek shelter in warming centers if they cannot heat their homes safely. As New Yorkers begin the arduous task of digging out, forecasters warn of another developing system off the Atlantic coast. Early projections indicate the potential for a coastal northeaster to move toward Long Island, New England, and southern Connecticut in the coming days. Meteorologists caution that this could bring an additional 6 to 12 inches of snow in already stressed areas, with strong winds causing blizzard-like conditions along the shoreline. The risk is compounded by existing hazards. Snow-laden roofs, weakened trees, and exposed power lines could all contribute to renewed damage. For residents still without electricity or proper heat, the timing could be critical. Authorities emphasize preparedness, stock up on essentials, limit travel, and check on vulnerable neighbors.
kind of cool. Kind of scary, but cool.
Amid the chaos, stories of community solidarity are emerging. Volunteers are helping clear streets for emergency vehicles. Local restaurants are delivering meals to shelters, and neighbors are checking in on elderly residents. Social media has become a vital communication tool with real-time updates on road conditions, shelter availability, and utility restoration. Emergency management officials are already analyzing the storm's impact, noting weaknesses in infrastructure and preparedness. Discussions are underway about how to strengthen power grids, improve snow removal capabilities, and enhance public warning systems. For many, Atlas is a stark reminder that extreme winter weather is no longer a rare event. It is a recurring challenge that requires long-term planning. Scientists note that while no single storm can be directly attributed to climate change, patterns are shifting. Extreme temperature contrasts, heavy precipitation bursts, and rapidly intensifying systems like Atlas are becoming more common. For cities like New York, this means that winter planning must consider not just averages, but rare, high-impact events that push systems to their limits. Infrastructure investment questions are now front and center. How should power lines be hardened or buried? How can transportation networks be made resilient to multi-day shutdowns? How can emergency shelters and warming centers be prepared to handle widespread outages? The answers will shape the region's readiness for future storms.
Cars are buried and there are still mountains of snow at the curb here on West 25th Street. Troy doesn't own a car.
But being someone who rents a car often, I do have to park it overnight, especially when I do a lot of go see clients that are outside the city.
For New Yorkers, the message is clear. Take winter storms seriously. Pay attention to official forecasts and warnings. Have a plan for power outages, blocked roads, and emergency situations. Check on neighbors who may be vulnerable. Avoid unnecessary travel, especially on ice-covered highways. For communities, the storm highlights the importance of infrastructure investment, emergency preparedness, and robust communication systems. Winter Cyclone Atlas is more than a headline. It is a test of resilience, planning, and human ingenuity. Winter Cyclone Atlas will be remembered not simply for snow totals or flight cancellations, but for the way it disrupted daily life across one of the most populous regions in the country. Tens of thousands of New Yorkers have faced life-threatening conditions, and recovery will take days, if not weeks. This storm is a stark reminder. When weather, infrastructure, and human vulnerability collide, even modern cities can be brought to a standstill. The choices communities make now in rebuilding, reinforcing, and preparing will determine how they weather the next extreme winter event. For residents, the lesson is personal and immediate. Stay safe, stay warm, and stay informed. And for leaders, the lesson is systemic. Invest, plan, and protect the most vulnerable. Because winter chaos like Atlas is no longer the exception, it may be the new normal. For now, New York digs out, shovels heavy snow, restores power, and braces for what comes next. And as residents across the city and state navigate icy roads and frozen sidewalks, one truth stands out. Survival depends not just on courage, but on preparation, resilience, and community.